Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I know you guys have been waiting for an electrolysis update and I'm so sorry for taking so long. I've been outside, okay? I've been outside. This is going to be like the complete guide to electrolysis. Like start to finish, everything you need to know before you start, whether or not electrolysis is going to be the right choice for you, in all the mistakes that I've made, so that you don't make them, hopefully, how much money I've spent, etc., etc., etc. So, and there's a lot of like informational stuff in here that's going to answer a lot of questions about why you might not be getting the results that you think you should be getting, because hair growth is a whole complicated process. So I'm going to go through electrolysis, how it differs from laser, whether or not it's permanent, how often you should go, how long it's gonna take, and if it's right for you, does it hurt, how much money are you gonna spend, blah 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 blah, and why you might be seeing hair growth after getting electrolysis done, even though it is supposed to be permanent. And yes, technically it is permanent. So if you want all this information, this video might be kind of long, but it is super informative. So if you want the info, just keep watching, sis. I got you. I have my laptop because I've literally typed out a freaking essay so that I can go through this with you guys. First things first, I know I've covered this in other videos, but let's talk about what electrolysis is. By definition, electrolysis is a method of removing individual hairs by destroying the growth center of the hair with chemical or heat energy. A very fine probe is inserted into the follicle and the hair is removed with tweezers. So, boom, take the probe, stick it in the follicle, zap, 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 pull the hair out with some tweezers. How is it different from laser hair removal? I'm so sorry if I'm like constantly turning, but I purposely typed all this out so that I didn't skip anything or forget to give you guys any information. So if I'm turned, I'm sorry. Laser hair removal beams an area of light over the skin to damage hair follicles. The follicles will become weaker, making the hair thinner after each treatment and significantly slowing growth. Because it is over the surface of the skin, laser hair removal targets every follicle that the beam covers, but it is not going into the follicle. It's also going to go over fine hairs that might not be noticeable. So if you've got thicker hairs that are the ones that are probably the problematic, the ones that you don't want, the laser is going to cover every hair that it's gliding over. So there might be fine hairs that don't necessarily need to be treated because they're not bothering you. Those are going to get treated too. So there's going to be no hair left behind, okay? Because it's going over the surface, the follicles only get damaged. They're not going to be permanently damaged because it can't go all the way down into the follicle like electrolysis can. And with enough time, if you don't get consistent treatments, over time, that hair is going to grow back. Those follicles are going to repair themselves from their damage. They're going to become stronger. So the more time that you leave for those follicles to strengthen themselves, the stronger those hairs are going to be when they come back, and they're going to be that much harder to get rid of later. So regular maintenance is very important with laser. Laser is recommended for larger areas of the body, like your legs, your underarms, your bikini area, stuff like that. Larger areas because that you don't want to go one by one with each hair, because it would just take forever. Laser is recommended for those things. And even after you've achieved the results that you want, you have to keep doing it every so often to keep the follicles damaged so that they're not producing strong visible hair. So that's why laser can't be recognized as permanent, because eventually that hair will grow back. You have to keep going. Otherwise, if you stop for long enough, those follicles can come back swinging, okay? We don't want that. Now, in that same token, electrolysis can do the same thing if it's not done properly. So I've said in previous videos, if the pain is too much, your technician can turn down the level of energy that's being emitted by the probe to make it more comfortable. But by doing that, you might not be killing the follicle. So if you treat a follicle and you don't kill it, you're essentially just doing the same thing. You're causing damage, but you didn't permanently damage that follicle. And so that follicle is eventually going to start to repair itself so that the hair can regrow. And initially, it's probably going to grow back thinner because the follicle is damaged. But if you don't notice it and you let that follicle continue to strengthen itself, it's going to grow back stronger later on, which is a problem that I had previously because I originally started my electrolysis journey years ago in North Carolina, and I wasn't really told how electrolysis worked as far as the follicle having to be killed, and it wasn't that painful. I was able to do it very easily. No numbing cream, no nothing. And my tech was telling me what a wonderful pain tolerance I have. Come to find out, those hairs were not getting killed. Some of them did that didn't require too much energy. I have like a little bald patch at the bottom of this sideburn over here. Those hairs are gone. They didn't come back. But I had a lot of hair that did come back. So yes, be perfectly mindful that if that follicle is not dead, that hair can come back and it can get stronger. So you want to stay up on your hair. Does it hurt? Yes. It is painful. There is a kind of a happy medium, not even a happy medium, honestly. Like I've said already, the follicle has to die. You have to kill it, okay? If you don't kill it, you're wasting your time. So the goal is to have the energy settings high enough that you're going to kill that follicle. Some hairs, if they're finer or thinner, they might not need or require as much energy, and therefore they can come out very easily. But some thicker, coarser hairs, they're gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt like a I'm sorry, but it is. So just be mindful. You can use numbing cream. The way my technician likes to do it is he has me cover the entire area with a thick layer of numbing cream, place saran wrap or plastic wrap over top of it about an hour before my appointment, and just let it sit. And that's going to give you a good bit of numbing, and it's going to last longer because the numbing cream isn't drying out. And then when they start the appointment, they're just going to slowly remove the saran wrap for the areas that they're treating at that time. So while you're getting this side treated, this area can stay numb. That's the goal. You can also take some type of painkiller like Tylenol, ibuprofen, or something about 30 minutes before your appointment. It's not going to make a huge difference, but it will help. Avoid caffeine. Caffeine raises your anxiety. Anxiety and adrenaline go hand in hand, and when you're sitting through something that's painful, your fight or flight kicks in, and it's hard to sit still, and it becomes that much more painful. So the more relaxed you are, the better. And caffeine is not going to be your friend as far as relaxing. As far as the pain level, it's been compared to bee stings. I've never been stung by a bee, so I cannot tell you if it feels like that or not. And I hope I don't get stung by a bee. Rubber band pops or snaps, like if you were to snap a rubber band against you and you get that quick sting. And hot pinching. And I would say hot pinching is very accurate because you can feel the heat, but it also feels like a very tight, like if I took a very tiny piece of your skin and pinched it with my nails, it kind of feels like that. And each hair feels a little bit different when it's being removed. Some of them you might barely feel, and some of them are going to hurt like hell. It's going to be extremely uncomfortable for some hairs. And if you've treated those hairs before, or if you've tweezed or anything that could have done any type of damage to the follicle where the follicle then repaired itself and got stronger, those hairs are going to be the ones that give you the most trouble and are going to hurt. Now, here is where things get a little bit tricky and complicated as far as whether or not electrolysis is permanent. Like I said, the follicle needs to be killed in order for that hair to be permanently gone. So you need to make sure that you are with a technician that explains things to you and that is very open in communicating what is or isn't working for you. I went to 2 techs before I went to the one that I am at now, and he's giving me so much more information than I've ever had before. Before I was just blindly going to my appointments, getting treated and leaving, not knowing if I was really making any progress. So here's the thing. Electrolysis is permanent if it's done properly. That's the first thing. Second thing, you're treating each hair one by one, so seeing results is going to be a little bit slow because at any given moment, all the hair that you have here is not all there at the same time. Your hair growth cycle is about 4 to 6 weeks. With hormonal hair growth, it can be a little bit faster, so it can be closer to like 3 weeks for a hair to turn over and create, or for a follicle to shed a hair and then create a new hair. So if a hair is treated and then removed, it's going to be a few weeks before you see that hair again. And I don't want anyone to be confused because I said I was going weekly. I was, because not only was I alternating sides because I was only doing 30-minute appointments, but in between those weeks, other hairs were growing. So the hair that's here right now that I can treat is not the hair that's going to be there in 2 weeks. So 2 weeks from now, I'm going to have hair. It's not the same hair that was treated before. So I read in any given square inch of skin, you can have up to 1,000 hair follicles. Now that's a little bit exaggerated, but you could potentially have that many hair follicles. A lot of them may be dormant, but you could have hundreds of active follicles in just 1 square inch. So you may be looking at hair and going, why is that hair there? I just got that treated, but that might not be the same hair. Like, it's probably not the same hair that you just treated a week ago. Matter of fact, it's most likely not the same hair that you just treated a week ago. So for me, weekly appointments was good for me because I was alternating sides and I was only doing 30 minutes and I wanted to speed up my results. And lucky for me, I'm at a place where my appointments don't cost that much. I know prices range in various locations, but for me, the cost wasn't bad for me to go every week or 10 days or 2 weeks, depending on how my hair was looking. So here's another layer of whether or not it's permanent. Like I said, you can kill this hair. It's not going to stop this hair from growing back because that wasn't the one that's treated. So you need to treat hairs as they grow in because, like I said, all your hair is in different stages of the growth cycle. If your hair growth is hormonal, like most of us women with male pattern hair growth, it is hormonal. If your hair growth is hormonal, there's nothing to stop you from growing new hairs. Like I said, you have thousands of follicles and many of them are dormant. But the same way once upon a time you did not have hair here, I don't have a hair right here, but I could wake up tomorrow and there could be one because dormant follicles can become active at any time. So if you have hormonal hair growth, it's very, very important to make the proper lifestyle changes also to try to balance out your hormones and prevent dormant follicles from becoming active. If you're not making the lifestyle changes and your testosterone levels are like up here, there's a very high chance that you're going to keep producing new hair because your body feels like it's supposed to be there. All these dormant follicles are going to slowly become active because that's what they think they're supposed to do. So hormone balance is important. If you have hormonal hair growth, it's going to be a challenge because you have to try to balance your hormones so you're not fighting against new hairs every time. If you're constantly having new hair growth and you're trying to kill hair at the same time, you're never going to see the results that you want, because there's always going to be a new hair. In that case, regular laser appointments might be more helpful, but again, it's going to be kind of like a lifetime commitment. You have to keep going. But if you're not seeing a whole lot of new hair, electrolysis might be a great option. Or like if you're trying to treat a place that's not hormonal. So for me, my sideburns aren't part of my hormonal hair growth. I've always had thick sideburns since I was born. So that's why I've seen a lot of gaps, because for the hairs that I have gotten treated in my sideburns, they don't grow back. But I've been trying to focus on this because my hair is very sporadic. It's not a very full, even spread of hair. If you have a lot of hair, a lot more than I have, laser might be a better option, but you have to remember that it is going to be a regular commitment. And find someone near you that doesn't charge an arm and a leg for laser, because laser is more expensive typically than electrolysis. But if you're paying thousands of dollars a month or every 3 months for laser, find a new tech, because there are techs out there. There are techs out there that will do it much, much cheaper and that are more reliable. For example, my electrolysis tech also does laser, and he's very affordable, and I've had great results with electrolysis, so I would trust him with laser. But if you're going to like a laser spa type place, they're probably going to charge an arm and a leg. Try to find a private practice. That's my suggestion. I don't know. Compare prices, call people, read reviews, do your research before you commit to something. Another thing that can kind of make things complicated is if your follicles are curved. The whole point is to get the probe down to the base of the follicle so that the follicle can be permanently destroyed and cannot produce hair anymore. If you have a curved follicle, the probe is straight. So trying to get the probe down to the very bottom of that follicle, it's uncomfortable, but it's also difficult to get to, and it can make it hard to permanently get rid of that hair. How long does it take? I get this question a lot. Everyone is different. Again, if you have hormonal hair growth, you might be seeing new hairs pop up as you're getting treatments, which is only going to prolong the process before you actually reach like full permanent results. I think everyone has this kind of expectation that eventually there's just going to be no hair there and they're free. But you have a set of follicles, you have a set number of follicles from birth. And many of those follicles are dormant and don't produce hair, or they have hair that is invisible to the naked eye and you can't see them. Both of those are complicated because those dormant follicles can become active. That's how new hair even produces in the first place. That's where the hair came from in the first place. And then for the follicles that have hair that is nearly invisible, if you get laser, like I said, those follicles start to become stronger after being damaged and repairing themselves. So eventually those are going to get thicker. And it's also possible, if you get laser and your laser technician isn't properly using the right settings and everything, that they can kind of activate dormant follicles. So I've seen a lot of people say, I got laser, I was happy with my results, and then boom, one day all the hair came back and it was even worse. It was even thicker than before. And that's likely that all those follicles are stronger than they were before because they were damaged, they repaired themselves. So your hair is stronger and probably thicker and more coarse, but also because you probably have other follicles producing hair, and follicles that had thin hairs now have thicker hairs. They're more visible. So it's not necessarily that the hair completely just got thicker. It's because the follicles weren't consistently being damaged anymore. You have to maintain those treatments every so often. You have to do maintenance treatments if you're going to do laser. Electrolysis could seem like a never-ending process, if you still have hair growth. And that's why I'm talking about laser so much, because it could be a better option for many people if they can find an affordable way to do it, or kind of fit it into their budget somehow to just do regular treatments. That's going to be the best way to do that if you have a large area to cover. So for someone that does have lots of active hair growth in a very large quantity, electrolysis is going to take long as hell. It definitely works. It's definitely permanent. There's lots of hairs that I have that have not come back, but you have to be mindful of hair that's been treated that is eventually growing back versus new hair that you did not have before, because otherwise you're going to be mad. You're going to be mad at your technician, blaming them because they're not doing it right. And it's possible that they aren't, but it's also possible that you just have new hair that aren't the same hairs that they treated. So I know I've said that like a million times in this video, but it's very important that you understand the concept of regrowth versus new growth as you're getting your hair treated, because it can be extremely frustrating to be paying for treatments and thinking that they're not doing anything. You have to be able to recognize what the treatment is doing for you and what it's not. The more hair you're trying to remove, the longer your appointments may be. I only do 30-minute appointments because I can't sit that long with my anxiety going. Like, I'd be in full fight or flight mode. Like, my legs start getting jittery. I can't stay still. Even when the pain isn't super duper bad, just being there for that long of time, like, your body just has a natural reaction, and some people can tolerate it longer than others. But I know, like, your adrenaline kicks in, and I don't know about you, but I start to sweat a little bit, and I get hungry. Oh my gosh, comment below if that happens to you. If you're getting treatments and in the middle of your treatment, your stomach starts growling, because when your adrenaline is up and you're in your fight or flight mode, you're like burning energy, and it makes you hungry. Like, you're burning whatever calories you have. And I get hungry every time. Doesn't matter if I eat right before my appointment. I am starving by the end of it. I've said a bunch of times that the follicle has to die. This is important. If you take nothing else from this video, if you're already paying for your appointments and your sessions, you need to understand that the hair should come out easily. Once that hair is treated, if it is being treated properly, when they go to pull the hair out with tweezers, it should slide out without pulling or tugging on your skin. If they go to pull the hair and it's not releasing on its own, they need to go back in with the probe and hit it again. Again, that is not something that I knew when I was going to technicians previously. I could feel them tweezing my hair. So at this point, they're just damaging the follicle and tweezing my hair. Those hairs were not getting treated properly. So it ended up being a waste of money. Now I know, and my current technician will he'll tell me, he'll talk as he's going. He'll be like, okay, I have to hit this one more time. And I can feel him tug. I can feel him tug on a hair, and he will let it go and go back into the follicle, zap it another couple of times until that hair slides out on its own. If that hair is not sliding out on its own and they pluck it, they didn't do that right. They should not be plucky. And there have been times where he's gone to tug on a hair to see if it pulls out, and the hair pulls a little bit, like I can feel it tug a little bit, but then he accidentally pulls too hard and it comes out, and I can hear him go, ugh. I can hear like the disappointment in his voice when he accidentally pulls a hair out that wasn't ready to come out. But yeah, they should be going back into that follicle to zap it until the hair comes out easily. And then you know that hair will not come back, or it shouldn't. Now, there is a level of pain, obviously, that comes with the higher heat, higher energy, whatever. And if it is too high, it can damage your skin. I have not had any problems with additional scarring. All the scars that you see here are hyperpigmentation from ingrown hairs when I used to tweeze regularly. That was my bad. I had these scars before I started electrolysis. these are not additional scars, and honestly, it's lighter than it used to be. Now, you can have some scabbing. I did have that, and that was another new thing that I had with this technician versus previous ones that I went to. Previous technicians that I went to, I never had any scabbing. I had some redness, some bumps after my appointment, but those areas did not scab. And that also tells me that the settings weren't high enough, probably. So I would get little tiny little scabs and just keep my skin clean and moisturized until the scabs fall off. And honestly, when the scabs fall off, my skin would be lighter. So a lot of these scars got lighter from the scabbing coming off and healing and just keeping my skin moisturized, using vitamin E oil, and my skin would heal to my natural skin color. If you notice that your electrolysis technician is pulling out hairs that shouldn't be pulled yet because they weren't zapped until they come out easily, or they're not explaining things to you properly, they're not accommodating you in a way that makes you comfortable, switch. Find another one. I know costs can change from different places, but just keep changing electrolysis technicians until you're comfortable, and make sure that you're with someone that you can ask as many questions as you need to ask, and they will answer them honestly, truthfully, give you the full rundown, blah, blah, blah. Now, as far as maintaining your hair in between appointments, say you're going once every 2 weeks or maybe even once a month, obviously you're going to have some growth in between those appointments. Do not tweeze it. Do not wax it. Don't use Nair or anything like that. Just shave it. I use the little Tinkle eyebrow razors. I've said it in a couple other videos. I ordered them off Amazon. They come in like a pack of 10 or something like that. And I just shave it. That is the easiest way for me to do it. But it's important, if you are shaving, to time it accordingly, because if you shave right before your appointment, the hair is not going to be long enough either. The hair has to be long enough to grab with those tweezers. What I do, honestly, listen, now is an optimal time because no one's gonna question you if you're wearing a face mask. Okay, get you a mask, boop, cover it up. Because if you're too embarrassed to let the hair grow in order to get it treated, then it's going to take that much longer to get permanent results. And that's the goal. That's the whole reason we're getting electrolysis, is because we want permanent hair removal. And you can only treat the hairs that are there. If the hair is not there, it can't be treated. It's just going to grow back and it's still going to be a headache for you. I had someone ask if you can use a hair inhibitor, a hair growth inhibitor. You can, but the way that those work is it takes the enzyme that hair uses to grow, it stops it in a way so that the hair can't grow, or it takes longer to grow. And there's no reason that you really can't use it, but the longer it takes for the hairs to grow, the longer it's going to take before you can treat that hair. So there are 3 different types of electrolysis. Again, I did not know this years ago when I first started this. There's galvanic, which chemically dissolves the follicle, thermolysis, which uses localized heat in the follicle, and then a blend, which utilizes both methods. I get the blend. My tech uses the blend. I've seen great results from it. All 3 are considered permanent. Is it expensive? Yes and no. My 30-minute sessions, I pay $40, which to me is super duper affordable. And even when I was in North Carolina, I think I was only paying $45, maybe $50 for 30-minute sessions. So everywhere I've been, it's been a $40 to $50 range for a 30-minute session. And I think that's pretty typical. Now, the reason I say it's inexpensive but expensive is because depending on how long and how many treatments you need to get, it's gonna add up. So far, since I've gone back to this, since I've started my new journey with my new tech, I think I've done maybe 10 sessions, which would be about $400 over the course of 3-4 months. overall, I would say for 1 hour, prices can range anywhere from $50 to $120. If you're paying significantly more than $100 an hour for electrolysis, I would definitely say call some more places, compare prices. You don't need any type of referral or like medical referral or anything like that. You literally can just do a Google search in your area, write down some places, call them, schedule your consultations, go fill them out, compare prices, see what's going to suit you best. And if you try a place and you don't like it, go somewhere else. Go somewhere else. The place I go to is not like a big business. It is one little business office for one guy and his wife, and they do a great job. They make you really comfortable, but it's just them. It's just the two of them. Okay, in preparation for your appointments, again, your hair has to be at least 1/8 of an inch or just long enough to grab with tweezers. Do not pluck or wax in between your appointments. After the first 24 hours, you want to keep the area clean and moisturized. Do not do anything crazy. Don't put any crazy oils on. Just keep it clean and use a light moisturizer. I prefer to use Neosporin for the first day. After the first 24 to 48 hours, depending on how sensitive your skin is, you want to exfoliate. Oh, and again, don't have caffeine before your appointment. After 24 hours, you can wear makeup. I personally try not to. I at least go 48 hours before I put makeup on if I can. But after 24 hours, you can wear makeup. Just make sure your brushes and stuff are clean. And don't use any harsh chemical exfoliants. For more pre and post care tips, I will link a video up here in the cards, and I'll link it up. I'll link it up here and I'll link it down there. I will also link my Q&A video down below. I think there were a couple questions in there that I covered just from questions I was getting in the comments. Make sure you check those out. If you are in the Las Vegas area, I go to Smooth Image on Rainbow and Tropicana. It's like a little business center. You know, they just lease an office space. I highly recommend. They do a great job, make you super duper comfortable, and you can't beat the price. It's definitely worth the price, in my humble opinion. If there are any questions or any bits of information that I did not cover, go ahead and comment them below. I'll be sure to answer them either in the comments, or if there's like a big question that I just completely skipped because I'm crazy, I will make another video about that. I hope this video was helpful for you. I think I covered everything that I wrote down. I wish you the best on your electrolysis journey. Please let me know or tag me on Instagram. I know I don't post a lot about my electrolysis journey on Instagram because Instagram is for pretty pictures, but I do post in my stories sometimes. So check in with me on there. Feel free to DM me on Instagram. I will reply, I swear. Yeah, so if this video was helpful and you liked it, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. It will really help me out, and I appreciate you guys' support so much. Also, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you're notified for my next upload. Even though I upload sporadically, I'm sorry. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for your support and your beautiful comments. You guys are so sweet. I love you. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.